And India was not in the great, as far as financial health was not that great as far as country is concerned. Himalayas and all that.
Yes, exactly.
Okay, fine. A person who is doing business there will definitely not get the opportunity the guy who is sitting in Gujarat or sitting in Maharashtra or sitting in the southern part of the country they will get. Nowadays there are 1,000 things which are there which a CA can do, and this is what is happening. People are doing that. Otherwise, what will happen? That guy will have 100 crores or say 200 crore. He has to put an industry of 200 crore. With bank support, he can put an industry of 1,200 crores.
In this episode of the Second Inning Podcast, we have Mr. Shrikant Sapre as our guest on the show. He is a person who spent his entire life in the field of finance. He worked as a CA, then he worked in the ICICI Bank and HDFC Bank as a deputy vice president. Later, he became a CFO of a microfinance company और अब वो रिटायर्ड हैं और ट्रेडिंग करते हैं. इनके साथ हमने आज फाइनेंस के बारे में इतनी सारी नई बातें करी है, इतने सारे नए डायमेंशंस अनलॉक हुए हैं जिनमें से बहुत कुछ सीखने को है. तो इस पॉडकास्ट को एंड तक देखिए एंड एनरिच योर नॉलेज इन द फील्ड ऑफ फाइनेंस एंड टेक इट टू द नेक्स्ट लेवल. एंजॉय द पॉडकास्ट. सी यू ऑन द अदर एंड. Mr. Shrikant sir,
Yeah.
welcome on the Second Inning Podcast. First of all, how are you feeling today?
No, it's great. It's something new for me. So
Something
I'm
new?
really excited about this.
Excited. Are you looking forward to this conversation?
Sure, definitely.
Sure. Okay. So first of all, for the sake of our audience and to make the trajectory and roadmap of this episode, just give us a little glimpse of your career. आपने कहाँ से शुरू किया and where did you ended up in this field of finance? What were your milestones?
Okay. So let me take it from the day when I joined for my CA. I did my chartered accountancy first. So that was my first milestone as far as my career is concerned because I was basically a science graduate.
Okay.
So from there I moved to commerce and then did this prestigious degree of CA. And later on I started my career in a finance company, in a pharmaceutical company, initial days of my career. But that time there was a boom was coming as far as the retail financing and financing is concerned. So I was very much want to work into that particular thing. So I moved to NBFC called Apple Finance that time.
Okay.
From Apple Finance I had to shift some 2-3 more jobs to different, and then finally I joined HDFC Bank. So I had a long stint with HDFC Bank, and the thing what I was actually doing was I was into the credit team. Basically, we were looking into the appraisal of proposals and all that. So there are different streams in that particular this thing also. So one of the stream which was there, that is we were into commercial vehicle financing and construction equipment financing. So I joined that, and I was into that field for somewhere around 25 years. 25 years, almost say after working somewhere around 17-18 years in HDFC Bank. Then I thought, let's move into some other field. Then I joined a company, a private limited company. They were basically into micro lending. Microfinance.
Microfinance. Okay.
So it was great. Empower Microfinance was the name of the company. They are still working, and it has been started by my own friend who was my boss in HDFC Bank earlier. So I was handling their finance department and was joined them as a CFO. So almost 4.5 years I worked with them. And then I thought, now let me start something of my own and give some time to my own thing. So I moved from there. Now came back to Indore after almost 25 years of moving out of Indore. When I did my CA from Indore and then I moved out of Indore, say almost 25 years down the line, I came back. Now settled here, and now I'm doing something of mine, but that is mainly into the capital market.
Okay.
So this is the full journey of mine in a way.
You mentioned about retail finance. Can you give a little brief explanation that what retail finance is exactly?
See, if you see, banks are having, or say financial institutions are having some different streams of financing.
Okay.
Like one is wholesale finance. Corporate finance, you can say. One comes as a retail finance. Then there is the agriculture finance. So there are different segments which are there. Wholesale finance, generally you do the companies which are the bigger companies, like your Tatas, Birlas, and so many
So
other.
you lend money to these companies.
So we lend money to them.
Okay.
These
So that
guys
comes under wholesale
that
finance.
comes under the corporate finance or say wholesale finance.
Okay.
Because these guys need a lot of working capital requirement.
Like they are
of
playing the
them.
big game.
They are into the
Big game.
this thing. They are biggies. So definitely they do that. And then they need a lot of term loans also. So the same way it comes when you talk to the retail finance. Retail finance is basically relating to customers who are either salaried employed, small businessmen, very small
Like
lending
middle
which comes in
class.
middle class, upper class. Let's not go into that because that particular thing doesn't matter. Important is that
The size of business.
size of the loan.
Size of the loan.
Basically it goes on that particular thing. How much you are financing to two-wheeler finance, car finance, housing finance. Then some small businessmen which are there, they need some kind of smaller term loan for purchasing some machineries and all that. So these are the people who comes into the retail financing. In a way, if you say like what was my stream was, I was into commercial vehicle and construction equipment financing. So we were financing to the truck owners, basically truck operators, and the people who are involved into construction of roads, building bridges, mining. So these were the segment. One segment what I handled was the financing to the medical line, basically the where you are having the hospital financing, diagnostic financing. So what do you small equipment, small to big equipments. You are financing them equipments as well as the hospital.
Equipments as
And
well
the
as the
hospital.
hospital.
Sometimes yes, hospital project also comes, so you finance them also. That also. So that was the thing which comes into this. But retail financing, if you really see, is basically smaller ticket finance, which has been taken by people who are into who needs basic support. Say they want to buy a car, they want to buy a two-wheeler, they want to buy some personal expenditures are there where marriage, some sort of that. They need some personal loans. So these are kind of things comes into that retail financing.
Okay. And what was the exact time when you entered this field of CA? Like कौन से साल थे वो 90s, 1980s,
I
90s?
started my career in 1985. I came into CA. I
You became
joined
a CA.
articleship that time. Then 88 my articleship got over, and then later on I started my career job and all that. It took time for me to complete the CA because earlier it was, I can say for me it was a bit tough, and because we were basically people coming from the science mathematics background.
Okay.
And earlier, when we were young, I should say, there were not many opportunities and all that were not there. No, neither you were having things where you can come to know. So these are the streams which are available for you and all that. And when you are already into smaller towns and smaller places where it is difficult because you are not having that
Availability of resources.
You do not know what are exactly happening. So
Right.
in our days, earlier it was basically you do engineering, you do medical. That is what is the career. Your professional career means these two. So no, not much of things were there. Later on, basically things have evolved a lot. And when I did my BSc, that time I was actually looking now what to do after BSc. So I came to Indore, Holkar College, then GSITS. I got some admissions in some applied physics, applied chemistry kind of streams.
Like
to do my
hardcore science.
hardcore science to do MSc basically. But when I was I was talking to people, I was not able to understand what exactly I will do after this particular getting this degree. Again, you will end up in some kind of pharmaceutical line, doing some MRship or whatever it is, smaller things. But good part was that my uncle was safe.
Okay.
So I asked him one day whether I can come into this because I want to do something which is some kind of professional degree kind of thing. This is what was my I was looking for. He said, yes, you can very well do.
Like your perception of hardcore science subjects and their careers was like you didn't get that professional feel from those careers.
So that time it was basically, if you see, really engineering and medical.
Okay,
These
are
were
the
the
only
two
two
lines
options.
which were there. Again, in engineering also, there was hardly 4, 5, 7, 6 streams. The two civil, mechanical, electrical and all
Electrical,
that.
all of that.
Nowadays, you have 100 types of engineers which are
So
coming
many,
out. It's not
literally
there.
so many.
Specific things. That was not there that time. No? So, and once you are not getting into admission into that,
कुछ
so
तो
what
करना
to do?
पड़ेगा.
Something has to be done for life.
Right.
So that's why I just asked my uncle. He was a CA. So, okay, can I come into this particular thing? He said, yes, you can very well do this, but initially it will be very hard for you. It will be tough for you. But okay, fine. It's not that big thing. So finally I said, okay, fine. We 3 friends came from Dhar, a place nearby Indore.
Yes.
So all of us were BSc mathematics, and we said, okay, yeah, let's try this particular thing. We came basically to get an admission in basically this applied chemistry or applied physics for in MSc.
MSc.
3 of us has come for the same thing, but finally we ended up with that only. Yeah, what to do after that? So we said, okay, fine, let's go. So 3 of us has come into the CA field, and now all 3 of us are CA. So that's a different thing. So it's another good thing.
So उस टाइम का CA फील्ड कैसी थी? Like in today's time, CAs are of most, like, they are very important. First of all, they are reputed, and if you tell someone that you are doing CA or you are a CA, you are first of all respected, and as well as एक authority भी रहती है. और आज resources भी काफ़ी ज़्यादा available है. There are so many coaching classes, coaching centers, online resources, offline resources, paid, free, everything.
Correct.
And what was the scenario back then? And in fact, in today's time, everyone needs a CA. Whether it is a content creator on the internet, it is a person in the 9 to 5 job, even he or she has to manage his finances,
Correct.
file his or her ITR. Everyone needs a CA. What was the scenario back then?
See, that particular time, if you see, when we were joining, they were very limited. And as far as honor and this thing is concerned, their prestige and all that concerned, they were very much, that particular thing was very much there. People were respected in the right manner, because ultimately this is a very different kind of profession altogether. And so that respect, that dignity, everything was there. That was not an issue. The thing was that, again, as far as work is concerned, these guys were having work also. So once a CA is there, that time we were thinking, fine, you are settled. If you have done a CA degree, then you need not to worry. Not only that, our boss was, when my father met him, this guy is in BSc mathematics, what is he going to do in this particular field? So he said, you don't worry. He has come into a field. Either he has done his articleship only, he'll get something. Don't worry on that. He will definitely do something good. If he clears, that time intermediate and final, these kind of two, we were having these 4 groups in these 2 examinations. So if he clears intermediate, he'll definitely, he'll come in a better position. If he's a CA, then you need not to bother kind of. Everything will be there with him. Don't worry. So that assurance we were having, and good part. And that time, if I say CA is concerned, what kind of respect and all that, or say job was there. It is not that key, but that was limited. The people approaching to CAs were very low, because that was that many people were not filing income tax, and that particular chunk was very low. Industry was not that big that time. That you are getting so many things there. Though number of CAs were also very less who are practicing, but these kind of things were also there. Today the scenario is altogether different. Altogether different, because now CAs are not only doing only one thing, that is practicing. And generally, in our time, that time, generally, if you are a CA, you will mainly go towards the practice. Nowadays, there are 1,000 things which are there, which a CA can do. And this is what is happening. People are doing that. So, and with your number of taxpayers increased, the GST and new laws have come. So there are a lot of good, and not only that, if you see the banking sector, which has grown in a big, so finance sector itself in a different, in a way, it has gone up big time in India. When we are going to be a 5 trillion economy, definitely all these things will come into picture. So you need highly professional people who are going to help you out. Now, personal finance, there are a lot of CAs who are basically involved, engaged in the personal finance also. They guide people in the right manner, the way you should manage your finance. Because it is, see, finance management is an art actually. Okay. How you are going to, how much you are earning, how are you going to save, where you will save, how much you should spend, when you have to take a house, who will help you out in getting that house. All these things comes into picture. So this lot of CAs have now started giving practice this thing into personal financing kind of thing. Then one more thing which has happened is, you would have seen a lot of people going into the share stock market and all that. So there also, CA field, a lot of people are there. So this field is actually having lot many things where a person can do. Though the studies are still very, very tough, no doubt. It is the percentile of people getting clearing the CA examination is still somewhere around 8 to 10% kind of thing. It's not that 100% people who are joining CA, they are getting, they are clearing this particular thing. It is not like engineering or medical. You enter once and then you will be an engineer or a doctor.
Right.
But here, 80 to 85% people go out because they couldn't complete that particular. But it doesn't mean they will not get in. They will definitely get something, because that professionalism has been taught, and the institute gives you the right kind of guidance in developing yourself a person. So that's the thing for you.
So, when you were a CA, what was that thing which you gained which get you the job at the HDFC Bank?
After completion of the CA, basically by that time I had already come into the finance field. I had joined in NBFC. I was working with some NBFCs that time. So, and I have already gone into the field of credit, basically where we were sanctioning, because that was actually helping me out in understanding the knowledge of CA, was actually making me understand how I am going to assess a person, whether when I am financing, how can I go through their financial statements and all that. What are the scenarios this guy will face, what kind of income he can get out of that particular thing, because that basic knowledge and everything was there with me when being a CA. So that particular thing has guided me. Let's go into this field, and then I joined in some 2003. I joined HDFC Bank as a credit manager at Indore.
Why private bank?
No. If you want to go, there were banking sector. If you want to work in a finance sector, there are three type of things. What you can say. One is NBFC. Generally, that is NBFCs. Your finance companies, basically non-banking financial companies.
Okay.
So that is what is the first thing. Then comes the banks. Banks means then again you will be having private sector banks and public sector banks. Public sector banks, when we were also there, they were that time they were having their set processes. You have to give banking examination, you become a PO, you give a PO examination, you become some sort of their clerical level examination. You face those examination and then you enter into
a job
into the bank if you are clearing that particular thing. And then, but that time when I should say in 1995, 94, 95, these private sector bank has come. In fact, in 92, when Manmohan Singh was our finance minister, and it was government of PV Narasimha Rao, he was prime minister. That time, and India was not in the great, as far as financial health was not that great as far as country is concerned. So they opened up the economy.
Private banks?
No, not private. It's basically opening of the economy. When you are talking about opening of economy, means there were a lot more restrictions and all that which were there earlier to start a company, start a business and all that. They started removing that one. And they started asking for the foreign funds and all that to come and put their plants and or say manufacturing activities and all that here. So basic thing, I will say. And that was from there only this idea emerged, we should have few banks which are private sector bank. We should not be only dependent on the nationalized banks. Because nationalized banks, earlier if you see all these nationalized banks were private banks. This has been, nationalization happened later on of all these banks, yes. But then the need was there to have more and more banks. which can support people in growing. So these banks come. So HDFC that time some 5-6 organizations which I can tell you like HDFC Limited was there. They had to apply to government. ICICI applied. IDBI applied. UTI has been given the one license. Some 4-5 more banks were there who have been given the license to open the private sector banks. So HDFC Bank was also one of them. ICICI was the bank who has actually given retail financing a big push. But slowly, gradually, HDFC Bank has
taken over.
taken over ICICI Bank as far as retail financing is concerned. Because whatever, their management, the way they were looking into financing and all that. So that's the things.
So before the time when Manmohan Singh was the finance minister of the India, the foreign companies or foreign bodies were not allowed investing in India.
No, it was not like that. They started promoting more and more to come into.
Okay.
Some restrictions which were there, they removed that. Few things were, like word रहता था लाल फीता शाही, where you have to everything you have to go to government, approach for everything,
Like
take
the
a
process was
licensing.
long.
So the licensing was a huge thing. Everything so all these kind of things which has been they they removed all restrictions basically. So that ultimately you are having people. The country was having almost, I think, must be there. That time we were somewhere around 95 crore people. How long? Ultimately, you have to give jobs, you have to give food, you have to give everything to the people. How are you going to manage this thing with restrictions? It's not possible. So that's why that particular thing has come into picture.
Okay. While working in the credit field, when you were in the work profile of credit,
Yeah.
how is the evaluation process take place? How does the evaluation process take place? Like, how do you evaluate that? For suppose I come to you that I need some loan.
Correct.
I want the loan of XX amount, and I'll repay it. I'll repay it in YZ time. How will you evaluate that I am capable enough of repaying you the amount you are crediting me? How will you
No,
judge me?
again, see, in this thing also there are two aspects. One is secured lending, another is unsecured lending. Okay, like personal loan and all that, where there is no direct asset is attached to that particular loan. Another is your asset-based loans. So I was mainly into the asset-based loans. Now, how we evaluate a person in today's scenario and or say earlier also. See, most important thing, you have to see to it how much that guy is earning, what is his income. Then there are what kind of expenditure he is having. How much money, when I'm saying earning asset. Earning now asset is, again, assets are having two type of assets. One is asset which is being taken by the person for the personal use. Another asset is there which starts earning for that guy. So, like I was in truck financing field. So, truck financing and the commercial construction equipment financing field. Now, these are the assets which are earning assets. We call it earning assets. Earning assets means
Which generate money.
You put that much asset to on work, right? And that starts generating cash flow for you. So, that is what is the earning asset. When you talk about non-earning this thing, somebody is going for car loan, or say two-wheeler loan, or say housing loan. So while you are assessing that particular people, you have to assess in a different manner. These assets, because ultimately earnings has to be important. How, like if you see a person who is doing a job, is a government official. This much of income of this guy is going to come. Right? So he'll earn 5 lakh, 10 lakhs, 15 lakh, whatever it is there. He'll earn this much of money in a year. You can very well understand what kind of expenditure he will be having, how much money he needs to as far to expense out, how much he can save out of that particular thing. So out of that saving only, you will see to it how much, what kind of EMI this guy can pay out of it, whether he is already having some more liabilities or not. So you have to consider that also. Now you are having tools also, few like Sibyl and which also gives you
A
insight
track
about
record.
an insight basically whether this person has taken loan earlier, what kind of loan he has taken, whether he is repaying it properly or not. So you have credit scores coming into picture. So based on this, you assess a person on all this. So basically, the credit rating is the income of that guy, how much money he is going to save out of it, what is the expenditure he will be having, whether the total EMI what he or say loan what you are giving uska whatever EMI is coming, whether that matches with that particular saving or not. Sometimes you get the spouse also into picture of that person. Okay, fine. You if she is working somewhere, so both the people are having income based on. So these are the basic things we are based on which you assess a person whether he can pay or
Okay.
not. Earning asset is a different, slightly different, because that guy is going to run that machine, okay, or that particular vehicle. Now, when we were doing commercial vehicle financing, we were doing viability analysis.
And what's that?
Viability analysis means say that one truck is there. Okay, this is going to earn say 1.3, 1.2 lakh rupee. His total earning from this particular in a month will be this much
From a single truck.
from a single truck. Or say 80,000, 90,000, whatever it is. It depends. There are categories of trucks basically. Based on that, the income comes. Now, on that particular thing, what will be the total expenditure? See, this truck is going to run. When it will run, it will have an expenditure. It will have a diesel expenditure. It will have petrol expenditure, diesel expenditure. Then the drivers and cleaner salary. Then the tolls and all that into the
Then
scenario.
wear and
So,
tear of the truck.
wear and tear is
Maintenance.
there, correct. So all these things come. So you take out that money, then how much is money is getting left out? Whether that is enough to take care of your EMI. You have to see to it that guy who is having that asset, who is buying that asset, he's also dependent on this particular thing. So you have to give some money to for his expenditure also. Remaining, whether it is able to give the EMI, plus whether this guy is having some amount of capital to support in case something goes wrong, whether he is having some capital or not. Based on that, you will create the margin. How much margin this guy should put in into that buying that asset, and how much bank will finance. So these are the basic techniques for doing a financing.
Okay. So considering what you just explained about the evaluation process, I want to put forward two cases of losses: money loss, or you can say that money loss or fraud,
Okay.
money fraud, right? So on the very low level, when micro lending happens, there also the companies which are providing micro lending, they sometimes lose money. And at the macro level, when various banks provide huge amounts of money to big people, and then in the money laundering or frauds happen, and then that money is gone. So, what are the loopholes due to which these things take place? At the micro level in the money lending, when micro lending banks are giving money to the micro lenders, and at the big level, at the major level, where big amounts of money are given to people like, you know what I'm saying.
Okay. Malayas and all that you're
Yes,
talking about.
exactly.
Okay, fine. See, when a bank or a financial institution evaluates a person, okay, I told you earlier also there are streams, no? Where different people are being given in a different manner. They have been judged whether how much finance has to be given, not given, kind of thing. Now, in general, what happens when you talk about the frauds and all that? Sometimes we talk them as a fraud. So fraud should not be in generally used in the banking this thing, because
Okay.
nobody wants to do fraud. This is what is our basic thing. What we when we start lending, we want to do appraise a person. It's not that we are thinking or we are thinking no, this guy can do a fraud. You can otherwise if you are having this particular point has come to your mind,
Like that insecurity.
insecurity, kind of, then you will never be able to lend.
Right.
And the data or say whatever it is there, if you see 99% people, 97, 98% people are good people. They don't want to put their name, bad name kind of thing. I'm a fraudulent guy. So nobody wants to do that.
Right.
So that we should not go into that particular. what goes wrong while you do this kind of problems? Or say, if I say the big, why the biggest fails, basically, I should say. The biggest reason what I have found is they go and they invest in very different kind of businesses,
Okay.
unrelated business, and say unrelated business in the sense, say I am a person into mining business.
Hmm.
Okay, fine. I am doing a mining. I want to increase my business. From mining, I am handling steel, your coal mines and all that. I want to do something different into a field relating to that. That is understandable. Suddenly, from there I go and say, okay, fine. Now let me invest into a diamond business. Let me go into a very different kind of business, which is unrelated to my
Like a
existing
domain
business,
shift.
to my complete domain shift kind of. And then you keep on doing this particular thing. So basically, like COVID has happened. Okay. So lot many people, lot many businesses faced huge challenges. Earlier, one more episode which has happened, that was demonetization. Suddenly, the money has gone from the system. Sometimes, like if I say the bigger industrials and all that, which are not where something goes wrong, is like they are into one specific industry, it's a steel manufacturer. The steel prices has gone down big time. It takes time for the industries to take over or take time to come over all this thing. It is not a thing, today something happening, tomorrow something is happening, you are just changing your things and you are managing your thing in the right manner. Some war situation has happened. There are a lot many things which happens, which creates problems for people to properly run their businesses. When they are not in position to run the businesses, they face losses. When the losses comes into picture, ultimately what he will do, he has to make the payment to the people, the banks and all that. He defaults on that. So that default sometimes goes on a bigger side and we say this particular company has done a fraud. I am not saying that there are not intentional defaulters or intentional fraudulent people. They are there. Every society, we are also having this kind of where they want to cheat only. So that is what is the job of a credit manager. Sometimes you have to see to it what kind of people you are financing.
So you need to have that
So
people skill
yeah,
also.
we when I was doing into my commercial vehicles, no, we were having a list of negative people, negative customers who has
Okay.
already defaulted with some other company, delayed their payment to some companies and all that. So we were not touching them. They are those people. So this is the way we were. Now let's go on to that micro lending kind of thing. What you were
Right.
talking, where there also this thing happens. Again, the theory also goes on the same line. 97, 98, 99% are good people. They do not want to default. Situational issues comes. I was with a microfinance company for almost 4.5 years, kind of thing. Okay. We were financing, again, that particular lending was absolutely unsecured lending.
Micro
You would
lending,
microfinance.
microfinance.
Microfinance is a basically lending which is completely unsecured. You do not. This is RBI's instruct this thing. It is not that ki, this business goes in this manner. RBI wants that ki, this should be in this manner only. Ki, that because you are financing to very small people, and with very small ticket financing you are doing, you are actually going to do economic support to the poor people to bring them up to the curve kind of on the right path.
Better
Okay.
side.
Better, they should have more money, they should have more earnings and all that. You also earn by doing that thing. That is one part, but you are supporting them. This is what is the basic thing, and it is your duty kind of thing for the financial institution. This is the way I'll put it up. There, what happens? Ki generally, again, people are good. They want to where the major default has happened, particularly if I say in microfinance industry. Three things are there. Basically, one time it has happened in AP when government has said don't pay to the microfinance lender because government thought that these guys are charging something very exorbitantly to the customers or they are pressurizing them to repay the loan and all that. Something went wrong. Second major default has come in that industry when the demonetization has come because that lending is lending where no the microfinance companies they give money to customer, they lend money to customer, And on a monthly basis or weekly basis or fortnightly basis, they will go to the customer and take the EMIs from them,
Okay.
take the money installments from them. So suddenly the money was not there. And this entire thing was coming basically in cash. Because these small people, they do not have that much of banking habits and all that. Frankly speaking, nowadays it's a different thing. But earlier thing was that these guys were not entertained in the banks. Reason being, these guys are illiterate people. So he will not be able to fill the form.
Fill the form,
all that
KYC and all the formalities.
KYC तो बहुत आगे का. Form ही filling करना था. He has to go and deposit the money. He first will go to the counter clerk and say, sir, मेरा ये form कर दीजिए, मेरे को 500 rupees deposit करना. Now so say these guys, why the clerk will do this job for you? He'll say that much you should be knowing, kind of thing. So they were not entertained in the banks. So how are you going to lend money to these guys? Because they do not have bank accounts and all. So you are giving them money and you are taking that money back from them, and their entire earning is also in cash. Vegetable vendors and all that earlier. Now the UPI and all that is there. So your Jandan account and all that, the government's new scheme which has given some good thing to these guys. But earlier it was not there. People were not having bank accounts. So the entire thing, business, they have to do in cash. So he will repay also you in cash. Now suddenly the entire cash has gone from the system. Almost for 5 to 6 months there was no cash or very limited cash was available to dispense. Okay. So how these guys will pay the EMIs? So there the major default has come. Third default has come, which is recently because of COVID. Again, the entire businesses and all that has gone for toss. Now these guys do small businesses. Somebody will have vada pav gadi, somebody will be a vegetable vendor. All these very small jobs with you.
Local.
From local. So how they are going to make the payment? Their entire business has gone for toss. They were not able to go out and do business.
Right.
So that default. So these are basically not intentional defaults. They are situational defaults. So when you talk about the biggies like Modi's and Malia's and all that, their Modi means Dalit Modi.
I got
it. So these are basically your intentional defaults. Okay, but here things are different. These guys are not intentional defaults. They are basically situational defaults. So this happened. Again, any kind of loan you do, every financial institution understand that there will be some kind of
losses
will be there. They take care of those losses. While you are doing your pricing and all that, you take care of that particular losses.
Like उतना margin रहता है.
उतना margin हम लेके चलते हैं कि इतना भाई 0.5% है, ये unsecured lending में इसमें 0.75% आ सकता है और 1% आ सकता है. ये business जो है ये secured lend asset है कि if we are not able to collect the installment from the guy, we will take back that asset from that customer and then sell it off and take care of our
compensation.
Our loan, whatever outstanding loan is, that will be taken care. Housing finance in general, your entire house is on
the name of the bank.
On the name of the bank. So
registry की copy उनके पास है.
So this is the way it happens. Their default, it doesn't come in this way. So seriously, a good banker never worries about the default. He knows default will be there up to certain extent. Yes, it doesn't mean that you are giving money left, right, center without any looking into those things to anybody. No, that is not the right way. And every company, every finance company, they have their own modules, they have their own way of financing, assessing customers, and based on that, they do the financing.
Okay. On this, we talked from the zoom out perspective, nationwide. If we bifurcate on the basis of states, then state-wise, does economy vary, and how does it vary?
Yes, it varies basically. See, if you see in India, in general, you will find the western and the southern part of the country. They are more prosper.
Economically?
Economically. You go to Gujarat, you go to Maharashtra, you go to Tamil Nadu, you go to Karnataka, southern state basically I am saying. There, the industrialization is, a good industrialization is there. When you talk about good industrialization, all that, ultimately this industrialization gives money into that market. The state earns a lot of money from the companies who are working there. Agriculture to सबके पास में है. Even the things changes there when your states gets fund. These states are having lesser population also. They are not that dense population state like UP and Bihar. Okay. So economics are different for UP and Bihar, MP. Then you talk about, earlier we were talking about the Bimaru state. The 4, 5 states were there which are being called because industrialization was not there. Rajasthan, MP, Bihar, they were this kind of thing. Maharashtra somehow has industrialization since beginning. Good industrialization.
Due to the maybe due to British colonization.
No. That is basically, you can say, political will, available resources. Ultimately,
But that somehow came from the British period because Britishers had that like the Maharashtra region, the Bombay, due to the ports.
main is
and the
that you are
seaport.
having proximity to the ports so that you can move your goods out
Internationally.
internationally, local with this thing. So you have that available this thing. Okay. So resources and available, the most important. Now, if you see resource wise, your Jharkhand and all that are very good as far as your iron ore, blah blah, all these things, metals and all that is concerned. But industrialization has happened up to that kind of sector there. Not everybody reached there. So it takes time. You see, it is not that easy for any government also to have a lot of industrialization, but it should be there. This is what it meant. So yes, what we were discussing was that whether difference is there issue because of in state wise. Yes, very much. Economical activities in that state are different from state to state, and because of that, definitely the growth of businesses and growth of people mentality also, I can say, in a way, is different. You talk about a person staying in Gujarat. Majority people in Gujarat will think of money. First thing will come into that guy's mind is I have to earn money. I have this destination. You will see there is a line, where majority of the business, Ambani's ho, Adani's ho, they are basically coming from Gujarat, basically, and from Bombay side, basically. You go to Calcutta. Now, Calcutta earlier, if you see, was when Britishers were there. That was the center for the economic activities. Slowly, gradually, the political scenario has changed. The entire business has gone for toss. So, a person who is doing business there will definitely not get the opportunity the guy who is sitting in Gujarat or sitting in Maharashtra or sitting in the southern part of the country they will get. Now, this is what we were actually relating with our transporters also. I'm not saying there are not good transporters or good people available in this business in the eastern part. I was there in east for a very long, almost 4.5 years. I was the regional credit head for the bank. So it is there. But still, if you compare, there is a difference because the economic activities are very high. Now, if I am into a truck financing field, I have to see to it. I have seen this thing. I transferred from Gujarat to West Bengal. So when this particular transition was coming, I observed that thing very, very closely. What kind of difference is there in this business? There in Gujarat, when I was talking to people, they were asking me finance and they were talking to me for each and every penny. You say, sir, 0.05% interest, if you are charging more, I may lose a business there. This kind of competition was there between the financier and the customer was also talking on that night. Because he was having that much of big business available. Here when I came, nobody was ready to talk to me on the finance. They were just asking, sir, can I get a finance? There that guy was secured. I am getting finance. Don't worry on that part. I have available resources with me. Some 10, 15, 20 companies are there are ready to lend me. Here, that was not the situation. Now the situation has improved a bit in a big manner. That's a different thing. But earlier I'm saying. So this impacts state-wise economics, that impacts the businesses.
Okay.
And the financing also. And the financing also. Correct. Absolutely. So we sometimes we go a bit careful in few areas Because ultimately, we are giving public's money. As a banker, I am giving public money to the people, okay, who are so that money also should come back. If that money is not going to come back, how am I going to take care of my depositors? Or giving money on the faith.
Right. Can you just explain this cycle of money revolution? What you just said, that the depositors give the money, and then there are creditors.
See what a bank does. Basic thing. How from where bank gets money? Bank gets money from, one is the capital, what the bank is having. Majority money comes from the depositors, which are different kind of accounts what we maintain. Now there are saving account, current account, there are FDs,
savings and all of that.
So these are the basic things where how the money comes to bank from the
General public. Right.
Where how this money is getting deployed. Very small amount of money goes into the fixed asset and all that is very negligible. A good part of the money goes into the RBI, this thing where since you are already doing deposition and all that, depositors are there, some kind of reserves and all that are mandatory to be maintained with the RBI, this thing and all that. So your investment has to. So some investment will go. Majority part will go into lending. So you are doing lending, you are having this investment, and so these are the two basic things from where money is getting deployed from the banks. Right? Now while a bank is giving loan, when I am giving to loan to, say I have a bank is having a simple example, I would say a bank is having 50,000 crore rupees of deposits. Out of that, they had given say 40,000 crore rupees of deposit to the lenders, to the borrowers. If this borrower do not pay, and you have given money to people who are so-called things what you said, fraudulent guys, and these guys are not paying back, how am I going to give the money back to depositors? Nobody is going to come into picture and safeguard that money. There are insurance and all that, but that goes up to very certain amount. It is not that the entire deposit of whatever I am keeping with the bank is a safeguard. No, that's not the case. There is a limitation, 5 lakh. So apart from that, if I am keeping money, it is unsafe. It is safe in the sense, if the bank is doing his lending business in the right manner, my money is safe. Right? And this is the way basically it happens. That's why banks are very much vigilant in as far as to whom we are lending. It's that lending process is a very important process. To whom you are lending, at least you should be getting your money back along with the interest what you are going to charge to customer. Unless the interest is not coming and the money is not coming, how are you going to take care of bank's expenditure?
Okay. So in this whole picture, you even mentioned about insurance. You mentioned about interest. Like if you give 100 rupees to the lender, to a person, then you charge him some 8% interest rate and it give you the money back with the interest. Somewhere around between this picture, money is created. Money has to be created, because how will they fill the gap?
It means you are saying, say if I am lending say 100 rupee to somebody, you pay me back 108 rupee. So from where this 8 rupees is getting generated?
Exactly, because उसने भी जहाँ से कमाया, उसका भी कहीं ना कहीं तो किसी ना किसी बैंक से वो भी पैसा निकला या बना, और उसने अगर वो नहीं दिया,
don't look into these kind of things. See.
इंश्योरेंस भी है.
I was earlier when I was a banker. I was working with the bank. Bank is giving me salary. Right? So I am getting a fixed amount of money coming to my place, in my home.
Right.
I had taken a loan also of 100 rupees from the bank. And I say I invested that money somewhere, or I spent that money for my own. Then I have to repay this money. So what earning I am getting from my salary, whatever work I am doing outside. So that is what is the money generation part. The money is getting generated from there. I am just paying that 8 rupee of interest to bank extra, because the day I was needing money, bank helped me out in giving that money. And now I have to repay the bank I'll repay the bank with the interest. So that's why this interest is being charged. So this takes care of your that 108 rupee thing. Out of that 8 rupee, the bank will do deposit. See, this money 100 rupee has been taken by the bank from some depositors, right? So that depositor will be given 4 to 4 rupees, 5 rupees interest back. So this 2 rupee, 3 rupee which is left out is the bank's margin, where from where the bank has to take care of
Their own expenses,
their own
salaries
expenses and
and
everything,
maintenance and all
and
that.
their profitability. So while it goes into thousands and crores and all that, so the amount comes in, big amount comes in. Like in general, a good bank is earning somewhere around say 3 to 3.5% of or say 4% of NIM is coming. This is a big
A
I'm
rough
saying
margin.
roughly margin is somewhere around 3 to
Okay.
4%. So from there they earn money and they take care of their expenditures and all. Including the losses and all that.
Including the losses.
Yes, absolutely.
Sir, still my question, like the curiosity remains कि money has to be created somewhere or the other. कि ऐसा है कि X amount of, like a big X amount of money is in the Indian market and it is just complexly revolving around here and there.
No. You see, money doesn't come in this manner. No, it's not that somebody is pumping that money. It doesn't happen in this manner. I mean, okay, banks will keep getting some money getting pumped in banks and from there though. That's not the way. How this you're basically more and more getting convinced from where this 8 rupee or say this difference will come as far as depositors and the interest what
Yeah,
lender
like
is there
roughly.
roughly, right? So this is where see an industrialist. Let's take an example of an industry. That industry has taken a loan of 1,000 crore.
Okay.
Roughly we say. Say 10% is the rate of interest that industry has to give. So every year this industry is supposed to give 100 crore rupees
100
to
crore.
bank. Now where this 100 crore rupees is getting generated? This is what is the major your question, correct? Now this 100,000 crore that person is going to invest or they to put into either he will build a plant or he will put that money. He'll invest that money. That industrialist will invest this money.
Right.
From there his business starts. He starts generating profit. So out of that profit, a portion of one profit of this particular interest will come to banks.
Okay.
Otherwise, what will happen? That guy will have 100 crores or say 200 crore. He has to put an industry of 200 crore. With bank support, he can put an industry of 1,200 crores. So otherwise, he would have earned money only on the 200 crore. Right? If we say he is earning money on say 15% is the earning of that guy. His profitability is 15% what money he is deploying. On a 200 crore, he would have earned 30 crore.
Right.
On this 1,200 crore investment, which is 1,000 crore bank and 200 crore his own, he's earning his total investment is 1,200 crore. He is earning on 1,200 crore 15% interest.
Okay.
So that goes to say how much? It is around 180, 190 crores. Correct?
Okay.
So out of that 180 crore, what profit he is earning, he is paying back to the bank 100 crore.
Okay. So
This is the way the money comes from.
it's like a box inside a box inside a box.
It's a circle. It's a chain.
Circle.
This thing, circle. It's a chain which continuously happens. This is the way banking industry runs.
Okay. And this was the scenario when we are talking just about India.
Worldwide, it is like this only.
No, like we are looking separately at India, like just one bubble where we have India. But if we bigger the size of bubble and we involve other countries and we involve international transactions and international businesses where we have Indian rupees and US dollars and euro, then how does that cycle works? Like when there are businesses who are working both the sides on the
So
US.
like talk about
and
say one company which is working in India as well as in foreign countries also. Right?
Right.
So the business is there, no? So they are doing business in both the countries.
Okay.
So the earning money generation is happening in both the places. So from there only they will take care of their liabilities, their expenditure. So like you talk about Infosys. Now, just for the example we are taking. So you want to say Infosys is working in India as well as outside also. So what is Infosys doing? Infosys is basically a IT company. Correct? that IT company is doing business of software development and so that blah blah blah. Right? From there they are getting paid by from their
Paid.
clients. So the whatever they have been paid is what is their earnings. Now on that total earning they will make some payment to their employees. Say 50%, 60% is going towards employee. But the 50%, 60, 40%, 30% which is left out with the company, that money comes back to the business of bank, or say interest payment after that. If they have taken any loan, that money will come here.
Okay.
No, I don't think we are on the right this thing, because your question was something different. Is what is my feel.
What I was saying that
yeah.
does the complexity of money and the role of banks change and increases when businesses which are working between 2 countries and 3 countries involved?
No, not that. Not
Because
in this manner.
if a business is just based in India, it's a Mumbai based business. They are lending them some money, some hundreds or thousands of crores. They are generating profit. The bank can evaluate that, okay, this company has the potential of generating this much amount of profit, and yes, we can lend them this money.
Correct.
Right? But if that business is based in Mumbai as well as in, let's suppose, New York, okay, it's working both the ways, and now this bank has to give them the money.
So you are saying, if I am financing for their Indian business as well as for their foreign business also.
Right.
If that situation comes in, how things will happen? The same process works.
Same process.
See, the way you evaluate the business of Indian business, in the same manner you will evaluate the business of foreign business also. Because earnings are coming from there also, of this company. So you will club both these earnings, and based on that you will take a decision how much I have to lend this guy.
Okay. The parameters are same.
Depends. Sometimes changes also, because that's why I said the situational business is there. There are different businesses which are there. So that what is exactly happening in that country, you have to take care of that.
Exactly.
You cannot just say हमारे यहाँ पे होता है, or say my trucking business here or my any business here is giving, say hotel business is giving 20% return. So I'll have the same 20% coming in the foreign business also. No, that's not possible.
Yes, exactly my point.
Possibility is there कि the business, their margins are 5%, 7%, 10% only.
Like plus minus हो सकता है.
Possible. So that you have to take care while you are taking a decision for the lending for this kind of this. You cannot lend based on what is Indian model. No.
Then you have to consider both the cases.
Both the cases. You cannot lend only on based on one thing. How much money will go outside, how much money will be taken care here, and all these things.
Okay. Thank you for watching this podcast till the very end. श्रीकांत सर ने फाइनेंस फील्ड के इस पॉडकास्ट में बहुत सारे नए डायमेंशंस एक्सपोज करे, क्लोज्ड गेट्स को अनलॉक करा. उन्होंने काफ़ी सारी नई चीज़ें बताई. एंड गेस व्हाट, दिस इज़ जस्ट पार्ट 1 ऑफ दिस पॉडकास्ट. फाइनेंस के बारे में और ज़्यादा बातें पर्सनल लेवल पे, दैट हाउ टू मैनेज योर ओन पर्सनल फाइनेंस, विच थिंग्स यू शुड नो, किन चीज़ों को आपको ध्यान में रखना चाहिए, एंड हाउ टू अचीव दैम, इन सभी के बारे में बात करिए. फाइनेंशियल फ्रीडम, फाइनेंशियल स्टेबिलिटी एंड ऑल ऑफ दोज थिंग्स. सो फॉर दैट, subscribe to our channel and stay tuned so that you don't miss our second part of the podcast. Stay tuned. See you. Bye bye.